Every summer, as ice cream sales climb, the number of people who drown in the ocean spikes in perfect unison. If we rely strictly on the math, the correlation is flawless. So to save lives at the beach, we should obviously ban the sale of ice cream. This chart tracks both ice cream sales and drownings over the summer months. As temperatures rise, people buy cold treats to cool off. They also go swimming to cool off. The heat drives both activities simultaneously. The 18th century philosopher Thorndike Hume called this constant conjunction. Our brains evolved to recognize patterns, automatically assuming that if two events happen together, one must cause the other. That cognitive shortcut kept early humans safe from predators, but it creates deep statistical illusions when applied to modern datasets. We see this illusion play out daily in medical journalism. A headline will claim that eating a bagel every morning increases your risk of a specific disease by 300%. These claims almost always originate from observational studies. Researchers look at a large population, record their habits, and tally up the diseases that happen to coexist at that specific moment in time. Because they are only observing, they frequently identify biological markers found at the scene of a crime and mistake them for the perpetrators. When we treat simple associations as fact, we spend time avoiding harmless variables, while the actual biological drivers go completely untreated. Data can trick researchers through several specific mechanisms. The first is called the common pathway, and we can see it in a standard winter cold, where patients present with both a runny nose and a sore throat. There is a perfect statistical correlation between the two symptoms, but treating the runny nose will not cure the sore throat, and fixing the throat will not stop the nose from running. This diagram maps out the biological relationship. The two symptoms operate bidirectionally, sharing a common inflammatory pathway. Neither causes the other. They are both triggered by a single hidden root cause, like a rhinovirus. The second major statistical trap is reverse causation. Consider studies tracking older women over 2 decades, which found that those who engage in vigorous physical activity experience far less severe cognitive decline. The data shows exercise and brain health existing together. But the underlying reality is that strong metabolic health provides the physical capacity to exercise in the first place. The health caused the exercise, not the other way around. Overlapping symptoms and healthy habits frequently share these invisible roots. Without digging down to the systemic driver, drawing a cause and effect arrow is statistically useless. The most misleading of all these traps is the innocent bystander, a statistical flaw that heavily influences how we treat breast cancer and hormone replacement therapy. For decades, observational blood tests have shown that women with high baseline testosterone levels have higher rates of breast cancer. The immediate medical assumption was that the hormone drives the disease. Look at this system map of the body's metabolic engine. A major underlying condition, like polycystic ovary syndrome, drives up visceral fat and insulin resistance. That resistance is the massive engine that increases cancer risk, and separately, forces the ovaries to overproduce testosterone. Blaming the hormone for the tumor is like blaming a fire truck for a burning building, simply because they are always photographed in the same place. Baseline observation simply reads data that is already there. To find the truth, researchers must use interventional testing, physically giving a drug or hormone in a controlled trial and forcing a biological outcome. When doctors actually perform that intervention, administering exogenous testosterone to women, the hormone demonstrably protects against breast cancer. The baseline assumption was entirely backward. Correlation still has a place in science. It is hypothesis generating. It tells researchers where to look, providing a starting point for an investigation, but it is never proof. Proving causation requires a strict burden of proof. The British statistician Austin Bradford Hill proposed a framework where the physician acts as a detective, demanding multiple, overlapping lines of evidence before declaring a cause. One of the most important pieces of evidence is the difference between relative risk and absolute baseline numbers. This grid represents 10,000 people. If the absolute number of disease cases goes from 1 person to 3 people out of 10,000, the headline reads 300% increase in risk. Mathematically, it's true, but practically, the absolute threat remains almost non-existent. To cut through these math tricks and illusions, medical science requires experimental intervention. We alter the physical variable and observe if the disease goes away. Without the physical proof of that intervention, massive data sets and terrifying relative risk statistics offer zero clinical value. For much of the 20th century, the medical consensus stated that stomach ulcers were caused by the stress of living in crowded, noisy cities. Doctors routinely prescribed rest in dark, quiet sanitariums to treat the disease. In the early 1980s, Australian researchers Robin Warren and Barry Marshall suspected a specific bacterium was the true cause. The medical establishment dismissed them. To provide undeniable interventional proof, Marshall intentionally drank a beaker full of cultured H. pylori bacteria. Within days, he developed severe nausea, vomiting, and gastritis. That physical intervention destroyed the correlational stress theory. Warren and Marshall proved simple antibiotics could cure ulcers, and their discovery earned them a Nobel Prize. They didn't rely on observing stressed people in cities. They forced an outcome. Without that physical proof, we are right back at the beach, banning ice cream to stop a drowning. The next time a headline links a common behavior to a deadly disease, look for the innocent bystanders, demand interventional proof, and refuse to let a mere association dictate your health.
If you're interested in exploring more of these incredible connections from hormone optimization to metabolic psychiatry and regenerative medicine, be sure to subscribe and follow for more explainers just like this one. Thanks so much for watching this Within You Health production.